What's up, my Backpack Studio peeps? Jeffrey Powers here, and going to take on a new venture here because I have been playing with a lot of these, basically these small devices that are meant for cameras, for recording, for live streaming, for a lot more. And we're going to be conveying this into a new channel over on Facebook, the Backpack Streamer. What is the Backpack Streamer? Well, simply put, it's somebody that takes gear that's as minimalist as possible to do a major job, such as covering an event, covering a sports event, covering, anything like that. And you can use anything from your little phone to a PTZ camera to anything that literally, it really is on this table right now. So all of this stuff I've tested in the last couple of years here. It all pretty much started, I believe, with, well, it started with the phone if you think about it, but it started with this little device right here. This is the Mevo Start. They had the Mevo Plus before the Mevo Start. You could actually record this to your phone to live stream it out. And then they had a multicam option that lets you do 3 cameras to your phone, to YouTube, to Facebook, or whatever. And a lot of people really put some thought and effort into these little cameras right here. Sporting events like Little League or anything football, elementary or high school area. If somebody's an enthusiast, they get a few of these cameras, they can put them together. Plus, with the addition of NDI and now SRT coming into play with a lot of these cameras, you'll be able to bring these cameras into the software of your choosing and send them out to stream wherever. So let's take a look at some of these cameras here really quick, or the devices actually that I have on the table here. This is the Mevo Start. I've had this one since it came out in 2018 when I interviewed them at CES. Of course, we have a standard iPhone here, which is a great way to do any type of live streaming in itself. And of course, it goes right into your pocket. If you're looking for a way to stream multi-camera into something that's going to send out with graphics, we have the YOLOBOX Pro here. And of course, they have the YOLOBOX Pro, the YOLOBOX Ultra, and then the InStream, which is a vertical video. Next up is, this is what I use for a lot of my Wi-Fi. I have the GLINet Slate AX, which is actually being used right now in this video, but this is the Slate 7. I've had this one since it's won a CES award back in 2017, 2018 or something like that. But it fits into your bag, and you can set up your routing all through this guy. This is the eMeet StreamCam 1. Now this is a different system. It works on its own software, so you can't connect it up to anything else. You can do it on a Windows PC or through the iOS or Android, but it can do a multicam. It's got a really cool feature of taking the wireless mic off, and you can put it right on your person, or just kind of magnetically clamp it back to the camera, and it charges that from there. So we got that. Let's see, we've got the OBS. Of course, I'm a big fan of OBSBOT. I've been doing a lot of OBSBOT reviews. This is the OBSBOT Tail Air, which is a great little device, a PTZ camera. I put these up on stage. I don't put them back with me by the soundboard when I record live bands, that is. I put these on stage because they're small, they're easy to control, and I can get some really good shots with these. And I got a couple of those. This is a Ceramonic. This is one of the Ceramonic 2.4 gigahertz wireless that I use for some of my recordings. This is an OBSBOT 360. It's a dual battery bin. So you put the OBSBOT tail on top, like so, magnetically sits, and it can get the power from here for 7 hours worth of juice. And with the remote, which is right here, that's the OBSBOT, I gotta plug that, there we go, OBSBOT tail remote, you can connect it up, and this thing will actually do 360, which is really sweet. And I'm really excited to talk about this because they just did a firmware update that made me happy to talk about this. So this is the Nearstream. This is the VM33, which is a 1080p camera, but it's got a optical zoom with basically with a 2x digital zoom. It can do up to 40 times zoom. If you're in the back of a small hall getting somebody speaking, this is perfect because it's got that zoom to get over the crowd and get to the stage at least, so it doesn't look like you're recording an ant. And they just did a firmware update that allows you to control this when it's in NDI mode. which I'm really happy for. And I'm really excited to see how that's going to work in the backpack streamer rig. Just like with OBSBOT, they just announced SRT. And with the NDI and the RTSP protocol, you can pretty much have this camera set out for whatever. If you need to record somebody and send it back to the studio, connect up via SRT through a Wi-Fi signal and be able to send it back to the studio so that you can do a one-on-one interview. These are all the small things that are part of a backpack studio creator's rig. And of course, it also comes down to lights. What kind of lights can you set up? What kind of tripods you use? What kind of backdrops you use? Anything that fits into a backpack, even the laptops and the software that you run, whether it be the software that comes with the hardware that you buy, like the OBSBOT Tail Air, or if you're using a vMix, or you're using a Wirecast, or you're just using OBS on Windows, on Mac, on Linux. It's all part of the Backpack Streamer's Guide. And I'm even going to be talking about batteries, external batteries. And I've done this before. I've used my own power. I didn't have to rely on the venue to give me power. I hook up a laptop, do a couple-hour stream of a band, tear it down, set up in 15 minutes, tear down in 15 minutes. That's what's really cool about it. There are some things that you missed, but there's also things that I want to be able to start to introduce to you. Like, for instance, a lot of these cameras can't do 10-bit, so you can't do log filing. But what I'd like to hopefully accomplish with this is to get better and better at our jobs as backpack streamers, so we can create the best content. Further, we're getting into a lot of other types of recording, the 3D recording, the spatial recording, the 360 recording. And of course, that's the new Insta360, I believe it is, has a 1-inch sensor in it. So it's crazy, be able to capture some low light situations. So that's what this is all going to be talking about. This is going to be talking about, you got the gear now, how do you use it? What do you put into your backpack when you go to a backpack stream gig? And how do you stream? And that's what I'm really hoping that this channel is going to get into. A lot of community outreach. Feel free to ask the questions. Feel free to talk about the setup. We're going to really push for community togetherness. And I think that's a very important part with having a forum. So like I said, you don't just have somebody posting up, oh, we did this live show, this is how it looks. I don't want to see those live streams. It's great that you're doing those live streams, but that's what your channels are for your live streams. What I want to see is your questions. It's like, I had this live stream and all of a sudden this green screen showed up while I was recording. What happened there? Or how do I get the battery life to extend onto one of my cameras, or anything like that. So keeping the community as tight as possible, and also keeping the information nice and tight, so we don't have spammers coming, rude questions, or starting to say, hey, you don't know what you're doing, because this is a new avenue for a lot of us. Backpack streaming, I don't think it was even a term before I coined it last week. And I've been doing it for many years. The first one, I'll tell you, the first one I did was when Kodak had the Kodak ZI-8s out. And I got one. I went to CES, noticed that it had a microphone jack. So we hooked up a wireless mic to it. We put a light on it. We put it in its own cage. There were cages back then. I'm going to sound like a curmudgeon. There were no cages back then. We didn't have all that fancy equipment you got nowadays. Though it was very true. I had to take a tripod and I had to build my own cage over that. And then, of course, we put the wireless microphone on it. We put the camera on it. And we went around. We did B-roll at CES. So just behind the scenes type stuff. And we had a lot of fun with it. And that was the start of really my backpack streaming event. Even though that wasn't streaming, that was the start of it through the recording, because you're not going to stream every time. You're going to record your stuff, and then you're going to go home, you're going to post-produce it. Being able to set up within 10 minutes, being able to get your stream going within 15 minutes, and then doing the recording, tearing down in 10 minutes and getting out of there. I think that's one of the best parts about being a backpack streamer. That, and the fact that you could be anywhere in the world and you could record or stream, depending on if you have internet access or not. That is the introduction, the short introduction, maybe a TLDR, of the backpack streamer. So what makes you a backpack streamer? And it can mean that you also have some pretty big fancy equipment, because I have some pretty big fancy equipment, and every now and then I pull that big fancy equipment out and I use it. There's nothing wrong with it. So your questions, ask your questions, ask about the products. I will be showing products during this whole time. I'll be talking about the OBSBOTs and the Nearstreams and the Mevos and anything new that comes out for the backpack streamer, from cameras to mics to lights to stands to anything, even the backpack, because that's the most important part of the backpack streamer, right? The backpack. So anyway, that's the intro. Thanks a lot for watching the whole thing. And of course, I'd love to give you a prize for watching the whole thing, but maybe down the line, we'll see what happens. In the meantime, you can always support the channel. I'll have some links down below that you can go get some stuff. I'll have a basic 2-camera OBSBOT camera system that you can get, so you can try this out and test out the system yourself. And until then, thanks a lot for watching. You guys strap that backpack on and get out there streaming.